24. Welcome back, or welcome if you're just joining us. This is the France 24 debate. We're looking at Egypt 1 year after the start of the mass uprising that would topple Hosni Mubarak. With us to talk about it is a blogger and activist from Alexandria, Ismail Alexandrani, a regular contributor to the France 24 Observer's website. Also with us from Cairo, Dina Zakaria, a founding member of the Muslim Brotherhood's Freedom and Justice Party. And here in the studios, Ahmed Abdel Fattah, video journalist for the website of Egyptian newspaper Al Masri Al Youm, which you can read in both English and Arabic, by the way. And François Zimre, France's roving ambassador for human rights, and France 24 senior correspondent Melissa Bell. Now, on the eve of this anniversary date, the head of the Supreme Council of the Armed Forces earns the praise of the United States for lifting in his country the state of emergency.
I have made a decree to lift emergency laws. The draconian laws will remain applicable only to crimes committed by thugs, effective from Wednesday, January 25th.
Except for crimes committed by thugs. Your thoughts on that statement there, Ahmed?
We have a very big campaign on Egypt on last month. It's this name is Askar Kazibun in English, is military slayers. This is my opinion. Tantawi, of course, he is a layer. He told us about a lot of things don't happen. He speak about the rights of the people who's killed and the people who's injured on revolution. And for now, we don't see anything. 1 year. We don't see anything on this file. I think it's a very important point, but the military council don't make anything in this point. Still, we have Egypt don't go to the democracy yet because military council is make everything in Egypt. There is a president, and they are make a new law and make everything in Egypt. So we still under the military council.
And one of the most emblematic detainees of the past year, under those emergency laws, activist Mikhail Nabil. He spent most of the past year in prison, and part of that on hunger strike. Well, he's put out an emphatic statement on YouTube. Take a look.
I'd like everyone to know that I strongly refuse the decision of the militarist dictator Mohammed Hussein Tantawi to pardon me, and I refuse the word pardon in every sense because I did not commit a crime, so there's no need for the army chief to pardon me.
Ismail Alexandrani, thanks for joining us from Alexandria. I know we had some technical issues getting through to you earlier. Your thoughts on do you think that the military is going to hand over power as promised once the electoral process is over?
Well, we have heard a lot of promises, and we waited for fulfilling these promises, and we didn't get anything except more light and more blood and more. Hello?
All right, so a bit of a poor connection there. Melissa Bell, do you sense a disconnect between the way the Egyptian uprising and revolution has been covered in Egypt, when you read the Egyptian press, where the focus has squarely been on that Supreme Council of the Armed Forces, and here in the West, where the focus has been on the fact that political Islam has surged in the polls and at the ballot box?
We were talking in the first part of this debate about the prejudices that we foreigners all brought to the beginning of this uprising, dispelled to those of us who found ourselves in the middle of the square. As soon as you got there, you realised that far from being fearful of Islamists, the point was that something extraordinary was happening in Tahrir Square. That was about the people, that was about a loss of fear, that was about the weakest being stronger than the strongest regime. And even now we bring our own prejudices to it. And of course, here we've talked a great deal about the Islamists taking power. The real story, and the one that really worries the young revolutionaries in particular in Egypt, is the remaining strength of the military council. You mentioned a moment ago its repeal of the emergency law only last night. The point is that thuggery the exception that's been made is exactly what those 12,000 civilians who've been hauled in front of military tribunals have been accused of. So it's actually sounds like a very grand gesture, sounds like it's going in the right direction, but just as so much of what the military's done so far keeps within its gift, with its control, the power to carry on much as it did. And indeed, no doubt it will relinquish control, as it's promised to, but only after it's safeguarded its considerable interests in the country.
François Imre, Melissa Bell and I were both in Egypt in November. A lot of people angry at the United States, most notably, because there's a lot of military aid that goes to the armed forces and to the high command of that those armed forces. Do you feel like not enough is being done, perhaps, in the West to pressure the Supreme Council of the Armed Forces today?
I don't know. We welcome this beginning of a release of emergency laws. But as it has been said, it's not finished, and we would like this state of emergency completely released. And this is preliminary to realize the state ruled by law. I think that, in fact, one has to view the situation, to view the facts and not ideologies. And I would say, if I saw the in the videos the panels written in French, dégage, which means get out. And I would say that the point is not only to say dégage, but in French to say dégage in two words, which means give guarantees. We now will judge you on acts. Personally, I will not make any procès d'intention, preliminary trial. I will not prejudice. I just would like to say that we are extremely sensitive to very concrete things: freedom of expression, freedom of religion, no violence, women's rights. This is absolutely key. And I would not interfere in what is the internal debate and political debate in Egypt, but we will look very cautiously those aspects: women's rights, right of expression, right to access to cults, and particularly for the Christians, of the Copts, absence of violence in the police forces. And a lot has to be done again. I remember I've been in Egypt, of course, 2 months ago, but also more than 1 year ago, and it was in the Mubarak era, and I made statements regarding Khaled Said at this time. And I saw how isolated were the defenders of human rights. And I know that human rights are not things that goes like that in the air by themselves. Human rights are carried by people who invoke them, who defend them, who take risk for that. And I think our role is first to support them and to back them. So to your question, if we don't have to put pressure. We have to support those who defend human rights. All right, whatever could be their label, their political camp. It's not a question of political camp to be dedicated to human rights.
And over on the France 24 Debate Facebook page, we asked the question of, are you optimistic or pessimistic going forth in light of the fact of all this? And, well, we got the full spectrum. We have, on the one hand, Jamiu from Florida State University, who says he's optimistic for the future of Egypt. Just like you said, it's been a miracle the past year. Michael from Harare says, the military has always been in power and will always remain in power. This time as a shadow government. The uprising was well scripted. So, all right. And then there's Eric, who says, I'm neither optimistic nor pessimistic. I see things as they are. If you mean, will Egypt become a mostly liberalized Western-type state? Well, I certainly wouldn't bet the farm on it. And that brings us to the point that this week saw an historic inauguration of the new lower house of parliament. Now, last time around, 90% of the seats were held by Mubarak's since-banned NDP party. This time, after a big turnout, Egypt's oldest opposition party, the Muslim Brotherhood, got some 40% of the vote and the speaker's chair. The big surprise, the hardline Islamist Al-Noor party, winning 29% of the vote. Secular liberals, as you can see in that chart, far behind. And as for candidates from the youth groups at the forefront of the protest that toppled Mubarak, well, a mere 7 of the 498 seats that were up for grabs. Let me ask you, when you look at that pie chart, Ahmed, does this represent Egypt today? This this parliament, is that the reflection of political views in Egypt, roughly?
Actually, I don't have a problem with the election result. We have a democratic play now in Egypt, and the election give us this result. So we must tell yes, okay, no problem with this result. The Islamists on Egypt suffer a lot with Mubarak. They go in prison around the time and something like that. So Egyptian people give the votes for him because they faced the Mubarak along the time. But I think the Egyptian people will try with Islamists, and if they make good, okay, this will continue, and if this not make good, should stop him.
Dina Zakari, let me ask you, you have your party has the Speaker's chair in Parliament, in the lower house, but with the military still around, do you consider yourself to be the party that's in the majority, or do you still feel like an opposition party since the military is still there?
Okay. We have stated that we will not mention now matter of being majority or minority. This parliament all members of this parliament should cooperate. It's not a matter of majority or minority right now. We shouldn't think like that. But we should think in another way. We should have that kind of consensus, dealing with each other, cooperating with each other to rebuild Egypt. We consider this parliament as the parliament of revolution. And all Egyptians with its different streams participate in this revolution. So now we have the members who are related to different streams now in this parliament. Whatever has the majority or those who have more percentage or those who have less percentage, it's not a matter of that. But now we can see the Egyptians' free will. They have chosen, and I think that the members of the parliament held now a great responsibility. They have to work for it. As for the military council, I want to remind every Egyptian, and I want to say thank you to send my thanks for your moderate guest who said that we should accept this democratic the democratic choice of people. But I want to say results. But I want to say to the military council, we were the first who said on the 12th of February, after the step down of Mubarak, we should get rid as fast as possible from the SCAF ruling, because we were aware that they are going to cause a lot of problems, not because we are against them, but they don't know how to practice politics on the ground, the real ground. Their mission is not here. They should be there guarding Egypt from outside enemy. They don't have to play politics. But, okay, now we have to face this fact, and we have to deal with the reality with awareness that we should be patient, and we should continue everything like people have chosen in the last referendum. We should have shura, and then we have the committee which will put the institution, and then to have the presidential election. So we shall wait.
All right, a little bit more patience. What happens next also depends on the dynamic between the Muslim Brotherhood and the Salafists. Let's listen to one MP from Al-Noor, the Salafist hardline Islamist party, this on his first day in Parliament.
This is a blessing from God to us. And this is a debt we owe to the revolution, which is one of the main reasons that we are here today. And with the will of God, we want to reassure all of the mothers of the martyrs and any family that has someone who has been injured. They will be satisfied, God willing.
All right, so Dina Zakari, there you have a Salafist MP, his first day in Parliament, effectively promising cash compensation to the families of victims of those who were killed during the uprising. Do you fear, as one Western diplomat told me just recently, his fear was that there would be sort of a one-upmanship between the Muslim Brotherhood and the more hardline al-Noor party going forth? Do you fear that there could be like some kind of rivalry which could make it difficult to get business done?
No, I didn't think so. You know, before the parliament took place, we declared, or we stated actually, that we are willing to cooperate with anyone, any party, for the sake of Egypt. So, and we should work all together. We are willing to understand, and we are willing to cooperate, and we are willing to hear, and we are willing to fulfill demands. So I don't fear anything actually, and I don't think that there will be a real problems that we can see that might stop our steps of democracy actually inside the parliament. So I don't have these fears actually.
All right, no fears on that score. Ahmed Abdel Fattah, looking forth. I know that your first order of business is to get your eye checked on because you were injured covering the demonstrations off Tahrir Square recently. But do you see going forth, are you optimistic or pessimistic? You said it's been in our first part that the past year has been a miracle. Do you think the next year will be a miracle?
Of course, it will be a miracle. Egyptian people today tell us a lot. When the millions around Egypt go to the streets and say the people need to continue the revolution. The Egyptian people go to the street around the world to tell us we have a lot of today on the next year. We have a revolution, should be continued. We have a military council, should be go. And we need to make our new Egypt. I think we have a lot of things to do on the next year, and I think we will do it very well, and it will be a new miracle for Egyptian people.
The glass definitely half full for Ahmed Abdel Fattah. Thank you very much. Thank you to Melissa Bell. I want to thank as well François Zimre for being with us, and Dina Zakaria for joining us from Cairo. Thank you for being with us here in the France 24 debate. Stay with us. We hope it's a rosy picture. We may have doubts, though. We're going to be looking at business, and that's with Tom Burgess-Watson.